Hello, this is Continued Stories, and I'm going to read the book The Two Princesses of Bamarre by Carson Levine. Chapter 1. Out to the lands laid waste, to a land untamed, monster-ridden, the lad led a ruined, ragtag band. In his arms tenderly he carried Bruce, the child king, first ruler of Bamarre. So begins Drought, the epic poem of Bamarre's greatest hero, our kingdom's ideal. Drought fought Bamarre's monsters, the ogres, griffins, spectres, and dragons that still plague us, and he helped his sovereign found our kingdom. Today, Bamarre needed a hero more than ever. The monsters were slaughtering hundreds of Bamarrians every year, and the Grey Death carried away even more. I was no hero. The dearest wishes of my heart were for safety and tranquility. The world was a perilous place, wrong for the likes of me. Once, when I was 4 years old and playing in the castle courtyard, a shadow passed over me. I shrieked, certain it was a griffin or a dragon. My sister Meryl ran to me and held me, her arms barely long enough to go around me. "It's gone, Addie," she whispered. "It's far away by now." And then she crooned a stanza from Drought. Step follows step, hope follows courage. Let your face call danger, set your heart on victory. I quieted, soothed by Meryl's voice and her warm breath on my ear. Meryl was my protector, as necessary to me as air and food. Our mother, Queen Daria, had succumbed to the Grey Death when I was 2, and Meryl was 3. Father rarely visited the nursery. Bella, our governess, loved us in her way, but her way was to moralize and to scold. Meryl understood me, although we were different as could be. She was fair, and I was dark complexioned. She was small and compact, a concentration of focused energy. I was always tall for my age and loose-limbed, and my energy was nervous and fluttery. Meryl was brave, and I was afraid of almost everything, from monsters to strangers to spiders. As a child, Meryl loved to act out scenes from Jolt, or scenes from a made-up drama in which she saved the kingdom. Our games would begin on the miniature carriage that was our nursery's best feature. I'd sit inside, and Meryl would climb up to the driver's seat. We'd travel to the Eskin Mountains, where ogres and griffins dwelled, or to the Elf Queen's castle on the shores of the Han Ocean, or to the Western Desert, where the dragons had their lairs, or to the Muley Forest, where spectres abounded. She would rescue me from a flaming dragon or a hungry ogre. When I was supposed to, I would shriek in terror that was half real, but when I could, I would still watch Meryl perform. I'd stay still and watch Meryl perform. That was what I loved. Her favourite game was the Grey Death adventure. Oddly enough, this one didn't frighten me. The Grey Death wasn't a monster or a spider I could see and shiver over. It was invisible. If I caught it, it would be somewhere within me, and while the outside world was full of danger, I knew my interior. I was certain I could oust an intruder there. In the game, I always portrayed the Grey Death's victims. For the first stage of the disease, the weakness, I'd begin to walk around the warm nursery couch, growing weaker as I went. After a few steps, I'd fall to my knees and begin to crawl. I'd drag myself to the couch, but lacked the strength to climb up onto it. I'd fall asleep there on the floor. A moment or two later, I'd wake up and rise, consumed by fever. I'd rush to the fireplace and rub ashes into my cheeks, because the faces of the afflicted always turned grey near the end. I'd pretend to shiver, and I'd try to make my teeth chatter. Meanwhile, Meryl would be busy battling monsters, consulting with sorcerers, climbing mountains, sailing stormy seas. While I shivered, I'd keep one eye on her because I couldn't start to die until she was ready to rescue me. When she triumphed and found the cure, I'd flop to the floor. She'd rush to me, cradling the cure in both hands. Sometimes it was an elixir in a golden chalice. Sometimes it was a feather or of a griffin, or the tooth of a dragon, or even a plain black stone. Kneeling at my side, she'd whisper, "I found it, maiden, you shall live." She'd cure me, and I'd jump up. Then we'd frolic about the nursery, skipping around the carriage, banging on the suit of armour, clasping hands, and dancing around the small spinning wheel. We knew that a cure would be found one day. A spectre had prophesied it, and the prophecies of spectres always came true. The cure would be found when cowards found courage and rain fell over Bamarre. That was all we knew. No one knew when the cure would be found, by whom, or what form it would take. Once, at the end of our game, I asked Meryl if she really planned a quest for the cure. I was 9 at the time, and Meryl was 10. I'd leave as soon as I'm strong enough to ride a charger. She'd never come back. A monster would kill her. She took a heroic stance, legs apart, brandishing an imaginary sword. I'll find the cure, and knights will flock to me. We'll destroy the monsters and save Bamarre. Then I'll return home. She wouldn't. She'd be dead. But I knew better than to say so. Instead, I asked, "What will you do when you're away?" She lowered her pretend sword and smiled. "Why, you'll be the wife of a handsome prince and a mother of a little princess who's learning to embroider as beautifully as you do." I didn't smile back. What if the prince hasn't come, or if he didn't like me and left? "Then you will come with me." "No, I won't. I'd be too afraid. You know I would." She sighed, exasperated. "Oh, Addie, suppose I say that I won't go anywhere until you are wed and happy. Does that suit you?" "Promise?" She dropped to one knee. "I swear that I shall remain at Bamarre Castle until the Princess Adelina is wed to her true love. May my sword turn against me if I break this pledge." "Thank you." I collapsed on the nursery floor, feeling vast relief. Marriage was years and years away. She threw herself down next to me. We lay quietly for a moment, looking up at the wooden ceiling. "If I ever really caught the Grey Death," I said, "even if you hadn't found the cure yet, I wouldn't die." Mara rolled over. "Why not?" "Because I wouldn't give in to it. When the disease made me feel tired, I wouldn't act tired. When it made me want to sleep, I'd stay awake. If the fever still came, I'd run up and down to keep myself warm. By refusing to do the Grey Death's bidding, I'd chase the illness away." Merrill leapt up. "I'd do something hard. Climb a mountain, catch an ogre." I rose and sat on the couch. "I don't know why they die." She sat too. "I don't know why anybody dies, except when they're burned to a crisp by a dragon or skewered by a valiant knight." She thought for a moment, and then shrugged. "I will find the cure, you know." I nodded. "But if I become ill before then, I won't fall prey to death." That's the end of chapter 1. I hope you come back for chapter 2.